combination, and Van Horn attempted to counter.
You must remember, Monduga cannot punch really hard. He's not known as a hard puncher, but 5 or 6 punches in a row have the effect of one. That's what he's known for, combination. You just saw a good example a moment ago.
And we approach 10 seconds remaining in the second round. We are live on NBC. Dr. Ferdy Pacheco, Darren Van Horn, and John Monduga. Van Horn at 34-0, 21 by knockout. Monduga 25-1, 18 by KO. John Monduga, close friend and stablemate of John the Beast Mugabe. They are both from Uganda. Monduga, captain of the 1980 Ugandan Olympic team, and an outstanding amateur, winning 129 and losing 10. By Monduga off the right hand by Van Horn.
Van Horn doing everything they tell him in the corner. He's stepping up the action. He's trying to stay close. He is not moving his head, however, and that's what he worked on for 5 or 6 weeks prior to this fight.
Back him up with the left hand. That's what I want to see. Back him up.
And Kiel Van Horn in the corner, but not handling the training duties for his son, Darren.
Van Horn, calm, cool customer in there right now. He's letting Monduga miss and coming back with 1 or 2 punches. He's got little nicks on his face. Those are not incurred by the punching, oddly enough. He breaks out. All teenagers have problems at 19. He breaks out. It bothers them. And when they get hit, they bleed.
The fight doctor putting it in such diplomatic terms.
Well, I have a teenager. I know when she gets ready to go to the dance, she breaks out and sits.
Can we talk about this after the fight, Ferdy?
Come on, sit. That's the punch. That's it. Sit.
You're hearing the voice of Don Turner from the corner of Van Horn. How did you score the second round?
Second round was for Darren Van Horn. Took it with aggressiveness. Excellent combination. So we now at 19-19, 1 round apiece, 1-1.
Scoring on the 10-point must system, handled here by 3 judges.
You want to tell the people where the judges are from, Mark?
I mentioned that there is not a Ugandan judge to be seen. They are Kentucky-oriented, which tells us Monduga would need a very solid victory or a knockout. This is the second part of a triple-header day of sports here on NBC. Earlier, many of you saw #1 Temple solidly defeat North Carolina, 83 previous 33 fights. In Darren's last fight, things may have gotten a little bit out of hand. Watch this now. Whoa.
You see, he didn't have any head movement then.
Yeah.
If he'd have been moving his head, he wouldn't have gotten hit.
Have you seen that in other corners?
I have seen it many times. I saw Angelo slap almost every one of his fighters. When he came around and slapping Muhammad Ali, he thought it over and he slapped Boudini instead. Yeah, much safer.
But somehow you think about it a little bit differently when it's a father-son situation.
Yeah, it adds a different quality to it altogether.
This is round 4. And what does the fight doctor scorecard tell us?
I gave that to Van Horn again because of his aggressiveness, ability to put punches together, stepping in 29-28. We now have it. But these are close rounds, which is academic, as we spoke, of being in Frankfort, Kentucky. Monduga is willing to give away these early rounds, according to Mickey Duck, because he comes on so strongly at the end.
In the past, the knock against Monduga was the quality of the opposition. Of course, the same can be said of Van Horn. Monduga had looked impressive compiling his undefeated record, and then he stepped up against Mark Breland, and it cost him.
Well, that's why I think these two are equally matched. I don't think there's anybody of sterling. Nice right hand by Van Horn. Also has not fought.
Crowd responding with Van Horn succeeding with combinations.
Good series of hard right hands. He keeps it up. He found a combination, and he decided to keep it up through 3 or 4 of those varieties, and each landed well. There it is again. To finish the thought on Van Horn, his opposition has not been sterling either, so I think that's why this match was such a crossroads fight and such a toss-up. He is not moving his head. Keep looking at his head. It just doesn't move. I'm speaking of Van Horn. It was interesting to note that Mickey Duff said he didn't, although Munduga and Mugabe trained in the same gym, he doesn't let them fight each other because he's afraid that he might hurt Mugabe.
Yeah. Somehow you get the idea that Mickey Duff was protecting John Munduga.
I think he said half a sentence because he didn't want Mugabe charged with manslaughter.
Yes.
He would have killed the guy.
Strong round for Kentucky. Marv Albert and the fight doctor. Freddie Pacheco. Darren Van Horn picking it up where he left it off back in the 4th round. A good round for Van Horn, who was able to score with combinations.
Confidence coming out of Van Horn now exuding. His corner is even getting into it now. The usually placid Don Turner starting to holler at him, tell him, come on, we got this.
Darren Van Horn, a 19-year-old sophomore out of the University of Kentucky, now a journalism student. Made a switch. He was studying veterinary medicine. Also has done some part-time modeling. Grew up in Morgan City, Louisiana. Entire family moved on to Lexington when Darren was accepted at the University of Kentucky.
There you go. Put them together. Put them together.
He's got
Put
him.
them together, Darren.
He's got him a pace. He's all right. He got
There you
him.
go.
Don Turner in the corner
Good pace.
of Darren Van Horn.
Working there, hand-free work. You gotta make it quick.
Originally, Van Horn was scheduled to face David Braxton today, but Braxton took a warm-up bout in Detroit, I'm told, for $2,000 against one Ron Daniels. Braxton was knocked out by Daniels, so Braxton replaced by John Munduga.
Bad career move for Braxton. He could have gotten knocked out here for a lot more money. They got to say that